I wanted to do another video. I've been doing more videos than I planned, but it's not been that hot tonight, but anywhere from the beginning to middle of July on will be most years, and so it's just now turned July 7th and a couple hours ago. So I'm trying to get some of these out so that, and I'll probably do this during the winter too, for the really cold months. Not so much because of how cold it gets, because it usually doesn't get below freezing. But sometimes my arthritis and stuff acts up, so I'll probably keep doing this kind of thing. But I wanted to talk about Nexium, which was a quote-unquote multi-level marketing corporation, but really it was a sex cult, and it was started by sex offender Keith Raniere, R-A-N-I-E-R-E. I'll probably just call him Keith because it's an easier name than Raniere, which I'm probably mispronouncing, even though I've heard it pronounced a million different times. It's a company that started in '98, but it got shut down, from my understanding. And I'm not really going to get into the multi-level marketing thing. A lot of people joined because of the MLM thing, the multi-level marketing. I think Avon and Arbonne and Amway, and most of these aren't sex cults. Whether or not you can make a fortune with them, I'll leave that to other people to debate. But they're not this level bad. But he, a lot of people saw red flags and left because of his behavior. So I think it's very important. Always watch for red flags, and if you see them, I don't care who it is, be wary and run away. But I won't talk about their success and their getting founded and stuff like that. There's other videos, I'm sure, for that, but I did this one because I had heard about them somewhat before, but Cheryl and Dale did a video, I want to say just a few hours ago, but I just now watched it. It may have been about 5 hours ago. So, and I love Cheryl and Dale, but, and you're watching this months later, but it's kind of what inspired me to go down this alley. As early as the early 2000s, people were accusing them of things, of being a cult, of copyright infringement, of all kinds of things. I don't know if they accused them of sexual stuff yet, but scamming people and stuff like that, in which he, I want to say it was around the same time frame, but it may have even been earlier. In fact, several articles talked about how he was a racketeer, and they didn't use the word alleged or could be or accused or anything like that. Just so that means that he was probably found guilty. Would be my guess. It was a sex trafficking operation. It was a cult, a sex cult. The sex trafficking operation has been, well, we'll get into that, but let's just say it was found to be true. And the thing about a cult, it doesn't matter whether he truly believed it or not, but he was able to use toxic positivity to get to people. Toxic positivity is not like your normal positivity where you're just looking at the bright side of life. Toxic positivity is where you're thirsting to death, but you say, oh, the glass is half full, or the glass is totally full. You know, it's like, drink some water. You know, and you wind up thirsting to death because you won't admit that you need water. You just deny reality. And, you know, my best friend, she's the reason why I say on the bright side of things at the end of really bad stuff, because she had that positive outlook on life, and it rubbed off on me. So she's and sometimes I do it in a joking way, which she didn't. But sometimes I do if like stuff's really bad. But I don't deny reality. You know what I'm saying? There's a way of being positive without denying reality, and that's all I'll say about that. There was an investigation after some media looked into the things starting in 2017, starting in March, about 8 or 9 months from the initial media investigations. There was a criminal prosecution and convictions because of the things they found. They found sex trafficking. They found sex trafficking conspiracy. There's even rumors of murders and things like that, and people being being forced to live there and being in forced labor, and people having to sign things against their will. And just so everyone knows, if you sign a contract, say, first of all, if it's under duress, it's not binding. If it's illegal stuff, like I'm gonna make you have sex with me 3 times a day, even if you don't want to, well, that's still rape. Okay? Just know that. And it's a slimy thing to do. And that contract would not be binding in the court of law. Okay? The co-owner, Nancy Salzman, who took over after Keith Rainier, was found guilty of some or all of the accusations, agreed to, after she pled guilty to charge of racketeering, criminal conspiracy, decided to let them go ahead and forfeit Nexium related assets uh, including the real estate and corporations that owned Keith Raniere and Nexium's trademark and patent portfolio. Raniere kept inappropriate child abuse material of a girl who was 15. Just think Josh Duggar, but an older victim, older material, we'll say. CSAM, if you know what that's short for, because I don't want to say it on here. CASM. There's several different ways of saying it. I don't want to say it though, but I think everybody knows what I'm getting at. Like if it was consenting adults, it would be fine, but it was one or both were kids in the material. So, in March, which is around the same time frame, March 2019, Lauren Salzman pled guilty to racketeering and racketeering conspiracy. She testified against Raniere and received leniency, but there was a lot of other evidence besides testimony, and personally I think they're all pieces of crap. I don't care if you're male or female, there's some stuff you don't do. I'm very much egalitarian. I don't care whether you say egalitarian feminist or not, but if you're as upset by Amber Heard lying as somebody being abused, you're on my team, is the way I see it. And my dad was very violent toward my mom, and that's wrong, but so's lying about abuse. And I'm not saying Johnny Depp is perfect, but I'm saying, like I said in the Teresa Nor video, stuff's either right or it's wrong. Gender shouldn't matter, or sexuality shouldn't matter, or whatever shouldn't matter. It's just, I don't know how much you want to look into this, because there's documentaries and stuff, but there was only so much I could handle, because one of the things that I can't handle is people hurting kids. I mean, especially in that way. It's just wrong. There were also civil lawsuits in January 2020. Believe it or not, there's some people trying to support this piece of crap, Keith Raniere. But I think it's in the minority once people know what he did. Because the thing about people like this is a lot of times they can put wool over your eyes. I mean, yeah, there were people that saw red flags, but depending on what they saw, one, not everybody probably saw the same thing. But, you know, he was apprehended in 2018. He got 120 years imprisonment, so he's going to die in jail. 1.75 million in fines due to the U.S. government. $15,000 for Justice for Victims of Trafficking Acts of 2015. Monetary restitution from Rainier of $3.46 million to 21 victims. These are people they had proof on, you know. But yeah, and the women that got showed leniency, they also got time though. Most, if not all. Let's see. But everyone involved got at least 2 years of, well, a couple people got probation, but it was long term. And most got a prison, and the least amount was 3 years. But most didn't get anywhere near the 120 years. The next highest was a little under 7 years when converted into years. It's 81 months in prison. And another got about 3.5 years, 42 months in prison. I'm not going to talk much about the names because I mentioned the 2 or 3 that were the most involved, or seemed to me to be the most involved, at least in some of the stuff, not necessarily the most evil of stuff, but there's a lot of information out there if you want to look into it. But I can't really go there.